Henry Fearing House has been under renovation to transform it into what it would have looked like in 1870. And our Jason Livia joins us in the studio with more on the house and the Fearing family. Jason.
Thank you, Haley. And on Thursday, I got to visit the Henry Fearing House and Museum in Marietta, where I talked to the Washington County Historical Society and a descendant of the Fearing family about the house and the family's history.
This is Home, sponsored by A1 Heating and Cooling and TB Dentistry.
The Henry Fearing House has been a monument in Marietta for over 150 years. Recently, the Washington County Historical Society decided to make some renovations to the house. Fearing House Chair C.J. Smith said they wanted to turn the house into more of a home rather than a museum.
So the first thing we did was got together and decided to make it an 1870s home when the Fearings were most active. The first thing we've done is remove the shrubs outside, as they like to show the grand house. We changed everything around into more of a home than a museum. Eventually, hopefully by next spring, we're going to have a lot more Fearing items here. So it's going to be really a Fearing home, and that's exciting.
While the Fearing house and family was most active in the late 19th century, Smith says they've been able to trace the house itself back to the early 1800s.
In history, we've traced the house back to 1821, possibly to 1810, but that's not sound yet. Henry actually bought the house, which was a little brick federal building house, in 1847.
Barbara Fearing Moberg is a descendant of the Fearing family, and she says she has some items that belong to Caroline Fearing, her great-great-grandmother.
You can see Henry Fearing right here. Well, Paul Fearing, Henry Fearing, and then their daughter Caroline Lucy Fearing. Of course, her brother was Benjamin Dana Fearing. You always hear about the men and their time in the Civil War and how well known they were and their heroic deeds. But anyway, I have a few things of Caroline's. Anyway, she grew up, and her daughter was Caro Dana Blymeyer, who married Charles Gates Dawes, who's my great-grandfather.
Moberg said the Fearings also owned the Lakeside Golf Course house up near Beverly on Route 60.
Maybe you recognize this house. The back is no longer on it. This is along Route 60 as you're approaching Beverly. It's the Lakeside Golf Course house. So it has no trees around it now. It's very plain, but this was the home of Liza Dana Fearing.
Smith said that the Fearing family also had a hand in much of the Harmar district's development in the 1800s.
All acquired 12,000 acres of land in the southeast, 400 of which is here in Harmar. Henry acquired that through Paul's death, so he became a land developer. So throughout the Harmar district in Marietta, as I said, so much impact of the Fearings. Their signature is almost everywhere back in the 1800s.
This is Jason Livia. In Marietta, with WTAP News, this is Home.
The Fearing House is open for general tours on Tuesdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and other times whenever the open sign is up. You can find more information about the house itself on our website at WTAP.com. Back to you, Haley.